Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We're back with the Stratocaster Vivi guitar that I'm gifting to my niece, my grandniece. We're putting the hardware on the headstock. We're going to restring it, and I might even, I think if I have enough time, I'm going to clean up the fret ends. I'll show you that when we get there. This is the budget build. It's a birthday gift for she's going to be 6 years old. So this guitar is done. You can refer to the other videos. We've done a lot of work on this thing, and we're going to finish it up today. So let's get to work. There she is. Nothing special. The Stratocaster shaped object. Remember, we put a shim in the neck and then had to re-shim the neck because it was too much shim. We got it down to the right shim. Initially, all the hardware for adjusting the saddles was sticking up, which means you're going to scrub on that. You don't want that at all. We also did, we cleaned it up. We did, our regular stuff on it. I've checked all the electronics. Yeah, it was a little bit of a trial. I don't know how anybody could get, a $100 guitar and take it out of their, open up their birthday gift, their Christmas gift. Why is my camera out of focus? There we go. Hanukkah, whatever you want to call it, insert, gift that you're gifting a young person that wants to learn how to play guitar. I can't recommend it. Not unless you know how to do what I did, because all they're going to do is get dejected and it won't play right. I had to do a lot of work on this guitar to get it to where it is. The fret ends, yeah, we're going to get to that last, but to start, we are going to put in the hardware. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. They go in. There's a screw in the back. There's a bushing that goes through the front. I'm not going to overdo this with upgraded hardware. We're just going to put the hardware that came with it. As an added little bonus, I have 5 bushing that are this size, and I'm going to see if the camera will pick that up, and then one stupid little bushing that is this size. But I test fitted it and it will work, and I'm going to put the small one in first. So, we got to put the string trees too, but we'd already had all that stuff put together before. So this should be pretty straightforward. We're just going to put tuner in there, get the bushing to screw down there, and I like these kind of tuners. These are not fenders. Don't kid yourself. They're what came with the guitar, and there's no reason to go any further than that. If it was my guitar and I was going to play it, or I was building it for someone else, of course we're going to upgrade the hardware, but not for today's exercise. So you can see how this goes. It's pretty standard stuff. If you haven't seen it, pay attention. You go through, put your bushing. Don't tighten them all the way up, just get them snug. Already we have a problem. What's the problem? I took all this hardware off of this guitar. I don't know why that wouldn't want to go all the way down on there, but it's not. It just kind of hangs up right there. Let's try a different one. Maybe that's the one that had the short Did I find out right away why there was a shorter one? I think so. Wow. Let's see. So I put the short one in right away, but for some reason, seems like it wants to go with this guy. Could be. Let's see if the rest of them go in. They all go in the same way. I'll be surprised if this doesn't go all the way down. Maybe that was why that one, they put a short one on there, because it didn't go all the way down. Yeah, that's snugged up. Washer, bushing. Remember, don't tighten them all the way down, because there's a screw that goes in the back. Just want to get them to where they're snug. Now remember, when I took these all off, they were fine. Did the guitar fairy come in the middle of the night and screw up my threads? I don't know. God, I always say, don't ever put a wrench on them. That one right there is going to need a wrench on it. Let's try a different bushing. You never know what you're going to find, especially with these cheap builds. Oh, that one's snugged up. Okay, so we'll put that one somewhere else. Get out of there. Maybe I should have numbered them when I took them apart. I never have to do that on an American made or even a Mexican made one for that matter. Snug. This was the problem child. Let's see what happens. May have to put a wrench on it to make it tight. That one doesn't want to go through the hole. That means that hole wasn't drilled the same way that the other holes were drilled. Don't you love these cheap builds? But cheap build or not, I'm going to make this guitar play. Okay, pulled right up. Turn it back over. Get all your screw holes lined up. You know, just as sure as God made little green donuts, I'll bet you that some of these are not going to snug up. So get them started. Put them in. And this procedure is the same whether you're working on a budget build like this or a regular Stratocaster that you're upgrading to, you know, really good, you know, hardware and tuners, and you just follow the same procedure. Probably won't run into mismatched stuff that doesn't want to tighten down, but on a regular guitar, a Mexican or an American made. Although I've run into, you know, American made $3,000 Stratocasters off the shelf that had all kinds of buttered up stuff going on. You never know what you're going to find. Tighten them down. Don't have to go too far. As long as they snug up, you're golden. Be mindful of how they line up. I didn't drill these holes. That's the way it came. Once they go down in there and get snug, you should be golden. And then we're going to turn it back over and just make sure that the nut bushing is tight. See that one right there? Yeah, thank you. I knew there would be one. Yeah. I knew there would be one. Well, I'll I'll fix that later. That's what we're going to do with that because video time. It's snug enough, but I don't know. I got to fix the top one. Now, my mantra is you shouldn't have to put a wrench on these. They should snug right up and get tight with your hand. And if you have to put a wrench on them, there's something wrong. And they're all doing what they're supposed to do. There's also an adjustment here that after you get done setting it up, you'll deal with that. Now, our string trees. We're just assembling what we had already had together in our mock-up when we were dealing with the bridge and saddle assembly. We were going to try to make the trem work, but she's going to be 6 years old. She doesn't know what a tremolo is, and she's not ready for that. So I set it up as a hardtail. She can play with the knobs until the wheels come off. But I don't think she needs a trem system. So I'm going to say that the closest to the nut is going to take, there's two different size spacers. One is longer than the other one. I'm going to say that the longer one needs to go closer to the nut. And I could be wrong. I don't remember. I didn't make a note on it. Get it in there, and if it needs to be changed, we'll change it. Can you dig it? Pretty sure the longer nut goes, the longer string tree goes up here. That screwdriver's a little loose for what I'm doing. Get out of there. Always try to use the exact right Phillips head or Torx or Allen for exactly the job that you're doing. Snug it. It needs to be able to swivel a little bit because you want it to follow as we string it up. You want that string tree to follow the angle as it rides over the nut, goes down the brake angle, gets under the string tree, and goes to the tuning peg. So you don't need to ream any of this stuff down. Very, very light touch. Once you get it set, you want it snug so it doesn't move on its own, but it's not a Harley Davidson. Nothing's going to vibrate loose. And you dig it. I think we're going to be good there. Can't remember if I got this. Did I have the tall one there and then the short one there? I don't know. They can say all they want about hair and teeth. The memory is the first thing to go. All right, let's get some strings on this old bill. Everything facing the same direction. This is going to be your basic restring. I'll show you the first one, and then I'm going to do them all, and then come back because I want to show you guys the setup on it. Because this guitar has been a while waiting to get us where we are today. Low E through the back. Now normally I do all of these at the same time. I turn the guitar upside down on this type of Stratocaster shaped object and put them all through and then go from there. But I'm going to show you this one first. I know I had put pencil in there before. I'm going to put a little bit more, especially on these cheaper nuts. You want a little lube in there, and up here is fine with graphite pencil. Down here I'll usually put a drop of oil. String's going to live here. It's going to live here. So you go through the body, over the saddle. One. With the big fat strings, you're going to go maybe 1.5. Bend it. Put it through. Stop at the bend. The first wrap goes above the string hole. Every other successive wrap goes below. Bend your string up. Make sure you're in the saddle. Make sure you got a decent brake angle. And you do. You should have at least minimum 2 to 3 wraps. We have 2.5. We're good. Now I'm going to go ahead and string up everything and come right back to you, and then we'll check all the adjustments. Stand by. Okay, so we're down to the high E, or up to the high E. We've strung everything else up. And don't forget, we had repaired the D string nut slot here. So that may need to be adjusted as we go. And I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to lead us, because I can see that it's definitely higher than the rest. So we'll get to that. This is the last string we're going to do. The high E in the saddle. It's going to live here. 1, 2, a little bit past. Remember, you got a string tree, so you don't have to have a million wraps on there. The string tree will hold the brake angle that we're looking for. That usually the wraps around the machine peg, the tuning peg, gets you. And let's get that in there. Tab up. Make sure all your wraps are going down the string, the peg. Double check. It's in the tree, it's in the nut, it's sitting in the saddle. That looks really, really nice. We've got really good even brake angle all the way across. All the strings pull up. And, you know, Fenders, their headstocks go flat and they're perpendicular with the neck face, the fretboard. Most everything else, Gibson, Ibanez, everything else has kind of the headstock dips down. And that's why those guitars are so susceptible to, when you drop them, that the headstock breaks off. So Leo Fender, being the genius that he is, he said, no, we don't want headstocks breaking off. We're going to keep them perpendicular to the fretboard. We'll just add a little bit of hardware to make sure that we get the correct brake angle. Let's get her tuned up and see where we're at. I got a tuner here on the bench out of camera. You guys know that. Bear with me. So the D string is the one that we had to fill the nut slot. Remember, you can probably still see my two little dots there. We filled that because it was so low it was banging on the fret, the first fret. And probably now it's a little tall because I only went so far with it and didn't want to overcut it and make it too low again. So we're going to check that right now. Remember, brand new strings, they have to stretch. They're trying to find their home over the saddle, over the nut, under the tree. To grandmother's house we go. Okay, so what we want to do, and I like 18 thousandths. I like it to be close. This guitar may not tolerate that. But see how the D string is not buzzing at all, but the A, those two are normal. E and A are normal. That's what you want to hear. It still allows the string to play. You get under that D string, it's way too high still. So I have to cut it down some more. That's the one we repaired. That one's right. And I think the B needs to go down slightly. G is fine. So I think I'm going to bring the B down a little bit, and I'm going to bring the D string down slightly. And the way we do that, loosen it, pull it off of there, and all we're going to do is just ever so slightly cut that down. Now, normally I think I know what size it is, but I'm going to show you how to know for sure and use a caliper. And that will tell me exactly which file to use. On inches, D string is 26, and that's what I already knew, but just showing you guys so you know, you can learn these things. 26, where are you? Now, definitely go slow. We don't want to have to end up filling that nut slot again. Just take a couple of runs, then remeasure. Take a couple of runs, remeasure until you get it to where you like it. And for this, yep, you know, bionic guys. I know the camera's picking that up. That's the dust that we just cut out of there. Be careful. Don't go too far. Otherwise, you will be filling it again. Make sure we're in the saddle, we're in the nut. And all we're bring it back up to pitch, get your feeler gauge, and double check it. too tall. I'm going to try just to make sure. Yep, it's too tall. I'm going to keep cutting this down. I'm going to pause quickly because I could do this several times before I get to where I want to be. And remember, we don't want to go too far. If we go too far, we have to fill it and start all over again. So stand by. Okay, so we cut the D string, the D is in David, EAD. Remember, we filled that in a previous video and we just cut it down. And as I was checking, I have 18 thousandths. Perfect. Perfect. And as I was checking, I found the B as in boy string. And now they're all perfect. I cut the B and the D string. Now we're good. We're going to stretch this up. We're going to check the intonation and all that stuff. Let's double check our... See, this is the last setup of this guitar, and we're going to be pretty much finished. I'd like to let it settle. Video's getting a little long. Let's just stretch them. Retune it. And set everything, and then we're going to let it set overnight. And this little guitar should be ready to go. And have a new little girl playing guitar. She can start her career on this. Now, the most important adjustment I'm going to check right now is the neck relief. If we need to adjust that, we're going to do it. But I know I had that set up before. Let's just see where it is. And then we're going to call it a day on this video. Come here, you. 7th fret. A little tight. No, she's good. And that's where I had it set, 12 thousandths. So now, really, this guitar is ready to go. I'm sure that the string height is going to be where I left it, but let's double check it. There's nothing really changed other than the nut, the first nut action, the saddle height, string action, string height, whatever you want to call it, should be right where I left it. And it is just over 4. And right at 4 there. So we're at almost 5/64 there. There, we're good. Yep. And as we go down, they're a little bit lower. We're golden. We're golden. We're sitting at just below, almost 5/64, and as we go along, they get a little bit lower. And that's what I like. I'm going to let this guitar set, but we're pretty much done. This guitar is ready to go to its new owner, and her birthday is, well, it's almost October. Her birthday is in November. But I thank you guys for coming along. And everything that we did with this guitar. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We love to work on guitars and bass guitars. We don't just work on guitars. I'm a bass player. I build and work on basses too. It seems like I work on 20 guitars before I get one bass in. Although we do have a refret job coming up on a Fender Jazz bass neck very soon. So if you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Make comments. If you like what I'm doing, say that's cool. If you don't, put your 2 cents in, but don't be a troll. We'll talk soon.